let's just say there's a guy that's just completely, he's pretty happy with his physique, but he skipped leg day for 20 years.
Oh.
Like what do you do at that point?
Then I would make it more of a leg focus.
Saying like, I know a guy that did that.
You know a guy? Is that
yeah.
you?
Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy that did that.
Welcome back to another edition of the Rob and Corey Show. I'm Rob, and this is my co-host Corey, and we have another fantastic guest today by the name of Anna Taylor.
Hi, thank you for having me.
How you doing, Anna?
I'm good. Ready to chat with you guys and talk fitness.
Yeah, Anna's really into fitness. She's a personal trainer. She's one of 4 trainers that I would ever hire to train me.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, there's not a lot of people. For one, I'm cheap. For 2, there's this, I'm going to bring up a topic that I brought up with one of our last guests, and it's going to be offensive. There's a lot of trainers that I look at them and I think, you don't have the physique that I'm trying to get, so I'm not going to hire you.
Hey.
So you want Anna's physique?
No, but I know that she knows how to achieve the male version of what she's working right now as a female, so I would trust her with that.
Well, anybody needs to put on muscle, regardless if you're male or female.
Correct.
So,
Don't be sexist, man.
Yeah.
Don't be sexist.
Is there a soundbite for that one?
We actually do have one for that one.
He said, "Don't be sexist." It's not even on you. See how he controls the board.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Corey. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus,
I got to play the part.
And I've referred to you a couple people, and they've all said that you've kicked their ass. And then I think
in a good way.
Well, there was even one person that I referred you. I'm not gonna drop any names, but I know I referred you to somebody in my office, and I remember there was another person in my office that was like, "You only want to go to her if you want someone to kick your ass." Because I used to work with her like 2 years ago, and she kicked my ass.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
You want results, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yes.
When you hire a trainer, you want results.
And if you're cheap like me, you want a trainer that you know is actually doing something. You know what I mean? Because I've referred my wife to other trainers, and I'd be like, they're not working hard enough. You got to go see this Anna person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So health and fitness, you've been doing this for a while. You have your bachelor's in kinesiology.
Yes.
Right? I've noticed a lot of trainers have their bachelor's in kinesiology. Is that kind of like the first step?
Yeah. I honestly didn't know what kinesiology was.
I still don't know what kinesiology is.
It's a study of body movement. So I was getting my generals in college, and I was a pole vaulter in track and field. Didn't know really what I wanted to get into for my education or my bachelor's degree, so I just got my associate degree. Took a couple years off, actually probably about a year and a half off of college, and wanted to dive deeper into like what I wanted to do as a career. But I didn't know what that was. I thought physical therapy may have been a route, but it wasn't my true passion. So was looking at a celebrity's bio one day and noticed kinesiology was their degree. And I was like, what is that? Boom. The movement, study of body movement, finding the science of exercise. I had to dive deep into it. Moved up to Minnesota to finish my
From
Kansas.
Kansas.
So from Kansas, moved up to Minnesota, got a little colder up here, something I wasn't used to, and got my degree in kinesiology, finished out in 2 years, and decided to be a personal trainer as my fitness professional long-term career. I wanted this to be long-term.
Mm-hmm.
So started my career, and I've been as a personal trainer at Lifetime for 12 years.
Which is crazy because I've been going to Lifetime since I was 12 years old, and you're like the longest tenured personal trainer that I know there. Like, there's a lot more turnover, I feel like.
Yeah.
At one point, I thought I seen you there for a while, and then you were gone for a while, and then you came back. Maybe it's because you had a baby or something.
Had 3 kids.
Well, that was probably
along that process.
That kind of makes sense.
So taking that maternity leave, always felt like I was kind of starting over every time I returned. But after having kids, I felt that was when my career accelerated. And the process of thinking of fitness a little bit differently was mind-blowing to me in terms of, I think back at how I provided workouts for my clients 12 years ago. I was like, what was I doing back then? Even though I had a kinesiology degree, I had a CPT in NASM, I still wasn't really putting the science behind of what an actual program is going to lead someone to see the best results. I was just putting chaotic workouts together to make them feel like they're working out hard. But eventually, I was like, after kids, I'm like, you know what? I need something that's a little bit more structured, not only for myself, but for my clients to actually see better results. And having them stick to a consistent plan of strategic workouts and progressive workouts, adding in overload, making sure that they're taking their recovery and their mobility and their active rests. I started to see my clients get faster results in that type of avenue of fitness, rather than just being like, here's a hard workout to do, go do it, and stress their heart out, which is not necessarily the key point to a fitness workout. There's a little bit more behind it for them to see the results long term. So I felt that was a game changer after having kids and being there as a tenured trainer. It's life-changing for someone that needs to have habits instilled into their life, because everybody has a job or possibly two jobs, and then they may be parents or single, and they're just trying to get their life together or life in order, or find a balance in that community that they have for themselves.
See, I never once thought about mobility until like 5 years ago, how important it is to have mobility. Now I'm following all these like mobility people on Instagram, you know what I mean? Like I see people bend over and do something. I'm like, I just want to be able to do that pain-free. Like that's my number one goal right now.
Yeah.
You know, but when I was younger, obviously I didn't think about that. So, and I could see you at the gym doing all kinds of weird stuff. I'm like, what is she doing? I'm like, why is her body like that? What's she doing right now? You know? And so, so if you ever see me looking at the gym, I'm just trying to copy your workout. I'm like, what's going on?
Thanks, Corey.
Like, I'm not going to hire her, but I am going to watch.
You can always approach and ask questions.
He's like, okay, she's doing left foot.
I'm like, Anna works out at 5 a.m. It's a perfect time
Corey
to copy.
Peeking over in the corner.
You're like, what's up with his terrible form?
You should start doing stuff that is not even a workout to see if he just tries it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Corey's watching.
He'd be like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, this is great.
He's over there hopping on one leg for just 10 minutes.
So being a 12-year vet at training, kinesiology degree, and everything else, and then working at Lifetime this whole time, and you might not want to answer this question, but there's a lot of trainers. There's a lot of I see a lot of turnover. You ever see a trainer train and you're like, that's the wrong thing. I want to tell him to teach that differently.
I mean, I don't feel like I have to go up to that trainer to tell them, unless if they're willing to be open to learn. Mm-hmm. Typically, when you're starting off as a new trainer, I think you're trying to survive at that point. Mm-hmm. I remember being a first-time trainer. I'm trying to get clients. And the best way in order for me to start that career is being able to talk to people and build a relationship with the people that I'm seeing on a regular basis. Eventually, they start to see your value, the education that you start to carry that you can provide for that person. But when I do see trainers struggling, I feel like I've always kind of kept a rule to myself is, if they are willing to ask questions and willing to learn and maybe ask a veteran trainer, I'm willing to open up and give them the information that can help them succeed in their career. But sometimes trainers may be locked in their ego and want to kind of keep it to themselves until they can kind of realize, all right, I need to get a little bit more education under my belt so that I can feel like I can provide that for clients and actually show them the value of a personal trainer. So it's hard to tell. Like I can't just come up and be like, tapping on their shoulder.
Well, you're not going to do it in front of the client, but afterwards you might be like, if you teach them to do it this way, and I've asked this question before. I had a buddy who did personal training at Bally's, and I remember his big thing was like always wanting them to be relying on him for every single movement. You know what I mean? And, this is a long time ago, 10, 15 years ago, so talking to trainers now, they're like, no, we want them to be like independent. Like, we want them to learn how to work their muscles. We don't want them to feel like they need us to work their muscles. Like, so what thought process do you run by? Are you trying to teach people to be independent kind of thing?
For my clients?
Yeah.
So typically when someone first meets with me, we talk about their goals, their current lifestyle, and what I provide for them is sometimes they don't want to hear it, and sometimes they're really all for it. So if I tell them you need to eat more food when it comes to nutrition,
yeah, no one wants to hear that.
Most people don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
because
true.
I will say a majority of my clientele is female. Mm-hmm. So when I have to speak to them and tell them, hey, you got to eat, let's say 1,800 calories when currently right now you're eating 1,200. They don't want to hear that. They're
my
like,
wife tells me that all the time. You don't eat enough.
You need to eat enough if you are an active person. And so when I tell, it's like truth tellers. I tell my client what they need to hear in order to see success. Another example would be that I'll have someone, I want to tone up. I will say that is one of my pet peeves. When I have a client who's just like, I want to tone up. Really, in reality, that's you wanting to put on muscle and want to decrease in fat. But with the gimmicks out there of fitness, it's really hard to tell someone, okay, you want to put on muscle tissue? I need you to eat more. I need you to strength train. I need you to cut your HIIT training that you're doing 5 days a week and do more strength training for 45 minutes 3 times a week. And you can do your HIIT training 1 time a week.
See, and I've always thought that HIIT training helps you with muscle versus like longer, like cardio sessions. See, shows what I know.
And there's a way to be smart and effective with HIIT training. Not saying that it's bad, because it's not.
High intensity interval training.
Yes.
High intensity interval training.
Yes.
Should probably just explain what it is.
Yes. Forgot to mention that.
Well, you're talking to two like professionals.
I know. I feel like you guys know this, right?
Well, for the listeners,
yeah.
Like you said, NASM earlier. What is that?
National Academy of Sports Medicine.
Okay.
And then CPT is Certified Personal Trainer.
See, I was just trying to pretend like I knew what that stuff meant. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Got to get a little bit better with this.
No.
No.
Yeah, because I've always been told, like, if you wanna maintain muscle mass, HIIT is better because you are not doing as long of a cardio session, so you're not risking losing as much muscle.
Well, with HIIT training, you are working in a cardiovascular sense to have a healthy heart. When you're working in these intervals, so you're increasing your heart rate and then you're decreasing your heart rate. So when you're doing these exercises that purposely do that to your heart, let's say for 20 minutes, you're doing a circuit type of, you're having some weights, you're doing some burpees, push-ups, squats, or thrusters, if you've heard of those exercises in a sequence, and then you do them in intervals. Let's say you do 45 seconds of work, followed by, it could be 15 seconds, it could be another 45 seconds before you begin the work, and then just consistently do that for 20 minutes. That's effective. And that's effective HIIT training. But if you're constantly moving for 20 minutes and you're doing that, let's say 5 times a week, or you're maybe finding yourself doing it for 30 minutes or an hour, you're consistently putting your cortisol hormone at a high stress. And it can cause your body to hold on to fat and not necessarily get rid of it in a slower process. And then you outwork your body, you get tired. But if you're smart about it, let's say you do 30 minutes of zone 2. Have you guys heard of zone training?
Yes, I did zone training with a friend of mine.
Is that like the heart rate? Heart rate zones?
How your heart responds to intensity. So if you're increasing your heart rate, let's say to a zone 2, where you can kind of carry on a conversation next to Corey, if you guys are buddy and running together or doing a HIIT training session, and you do that for 30 minutes, you're usually finding that heart rate that is going to help you burn fat and also carbohydrates or sugars during that moment in time. And you can do that 2 to 3 times a week. With, let's say, zone 4, this is where your heart rate is really high. Really, it's hard to get there. You don't want to talk to the person next to you. You don't want to talk to Corey, which I'm sure that could probably, is that on a regular basis?
All the time. We just do the podcast for fun.
Yeah, we don't talk for fun.
Yeah, so you're in zone 4 all the time. So zone 4, you're up here. You don't want to talk to someone. You can't stay up there very long. Your zone 4 could last maybe 2 minutes or less. And then you work in intervals where HIIT training comes into play. But you got to be smart about your rest breaks. So if you're working for 45 seconds, rest for 45 and do your 20 minutes, you can certainly get into your HIIT training and be smart about that. But strength training, this is where that magic medicine is. So adding weights and purposely adding weights and progressive overload. So let's say you do a squat every Monday and you have a kettlebells in a front rack position. And the first week you're doing 12 repetitions. Second week, you're doing 3 sets of 10. Go up a little bit more weight in your kettlebells. And then the third week, it'll be 8 repetitions. A little bit more weight you can handle. And then on the fourth week, you can do 6. So now you're really holding some heavy kettlebells in that front rack position to do your squats. So you start to see that progression of how well you're lifting your weights. And then you can kind of go in cycles within that.
And then you
usually
shoot back
that's
to
how
12.
I teach people.
You shoot back to 12 and then be a little bit higher weight then?
The what?
Like if you went back to 12 reps, then you'd be a little bit higher weight than you were the first time you were at 12.
Than the first time around.
Yeah, the first time around.
So that's how I sequence with clients on how I program workouts effectively, including cardiovascular training or HIIT training. So it keeps their workouts have a little bit of a variety, but it's still smart training. And then I'll add in that mobility day that we talked about on how important that is, especially for us to get into a squat. You kind of need a little bit more mobility in there. So finding time to foam roll, stretch. If you like yoga, you can add in some yoga in there too. Just one time a week to make sure that you're getting in that movement. Calisthenics, I know you do those. That's a great way to have that variety of mobility too, because you're really working your body.
So this kind of goes full circle because it's like you're teaching somebody how to independently do the workouts, but then what they're relying on you for is basically managing the entire system. So now, and that's great for a guy like me who sucks at management. Like, and I don't have to think. Like, I just look and go, oh, okay, she wants me to do this weight this many times.
Yeah.
And
I have clients that meet with me one time a week, one time every other week, or I have clients that meet me 2 or 3 times a week. It all depends on what that client needs. Now, if you're adhering to the program and you like the program and you're meeting me twice a week, let's say for the next 3 months, and they're like, I think I'm ready to, I kind of understand like what you're providing for me. And I feel like I can go a little bit less, like 1 time a week instead of twice a week. I'm like, great. That's what I want my clients to learn, is to build this into a lifestyle. Because if you don't build this into a lifestyle, how else are you going to learn? I don't want you to hire a trainer for the rest of your life, but I want you to be able to build these values that you can continue on even after a trainer. Hopefully I can be your last trainer. Mm-hmm. And then that person can recommend a family member or a friend to be like, Anna did this. Send them over. So I feel like that puts value.
You know how you see me at the gym like really religiously for like a few months, and then you don't see me at all for like 6 months.
Yeah, what happens?
Yeah. What happens is I put myself in a mode that's completely unsustainable, and then I come really close to my goal, and I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to Arby's now. Get me a nice roast beef sandwich. I'm good. I did it.
Is that your choice?
That's one of my choices.
What's your other vices?
I got a lot of vices. One of them is beer. But you know what? I know that I can't get lean when I'm drinking beer, so I will quit drinking beer for like 6 months out of the year too, or several months out of the year too. So I'm just completely like, so I have this
It's like all out mentality.
100%. That's exactly what I was
Okay.
gonna say. Is people make fun of me for this. I'm like always just like all in, or I'm just like, I'm out, and I just don't do it at all. And so that's my mentality.
But you pick it back up though. See,
I always pick it back up. So it's like, I never would take like a year off working out or something like that.
Rob, what do you do?
Well, right now I'm currently doing a program from a book from I think it's 1984. It's called Getting Stronger. So that's what I'm working on right now. And then throughout the week, I try to do 100 push-ups, 100 squats, so just something to keep me going. And so far, I think the last month and a half, I've been consistent. And so I always say summer bodies are made in the winter. And so that's when I really put a lot of stress on myself on getting fit throughout these winter months. And then in the summertime, we're out moving more, sweating more, and I think it kind of tones me up a little bit better because I'm more active outside. So,
you mow the lawn with your shirt off, don't you?
Yes, I do.
One of those guys, you tell.
He's got to show off his alpha dad, like being out in the neighborhood.
So I really this year focusing on trying to get a little bit bigger.
Okay.
Not massive, like I was saying to Corey earlier, that I put down the 25-pound dumbbells because I've never been a heavy weight lifter. But now I'm messing with the 35s, and I'll do the 35s all year.
Yeah.
And so I'll still continue to do my pull-ups, my push-ups, my sit-ups, my squats, air squats, and just see where it goes from there. But the focus this year is mostly bigger chest and bigger legs, stronger legs.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of goes along with the nutrition stuff I was talking earlier.
Like my wife said, you got to eat more. And so I've been trying to eat at least 3 squares and then, the snacks in between. So,
yeah. So do you guys kind of have an understanding of macronutrient intake and
I don't,
what it
but
takes?
I know he does.
Yeah, and so, but if I'm wrong, I'm cutting it out of the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, go for it. This is your
I'm
podcast.
just kidding. So
She's interviewing us.
I know she is.
I'm asking because I want to help you guys out too.
So I guarantee that you're going to say that I don't eat enough because right now I'm going for like 2,600 calories a day.
Okay.
And I shoot for 40% protein, 35% carbs, 25% fat. This is the system that I started when I was younger, and for me it seems to work.
Yeah.
And so that's what I always do. And I did 75 hard like 2 years ago. And I walk around like comfortably, like if I'm doing what I want to do. If I'm working out every day and I'm still eating McDonald's and I'm still drinking beer and everything else, I walk around like between 210 and 215.
Yeah.
And my body fat percentage is like high. It's like 15, 16, sometimes even closer to 20%. It's never been 20, but it's usually like 18, 19.
Yeah.
When I did 75 hard, body fat got down to 8%, but I weighed 182 pounds.
Wow.
Which is like unbelievably, I felt small. Like I have episodes of my other podcasts where I was at 182 pounds and I look like a small child in those episodes. My t-shirt's all baggy. I'm moving my arms and my sleeves are flapping around. I don't know if I like that either.
Yeah.
And so what I want like a happy medium. Like I would love to be like just under 200 pounds and still maintain under 10% body fat. But I've said that to people before and they think under 10 is ridiculous. I like the 8 to 10% body fat for myself.
I mean, I guess the question you can ask yourselves too, and this is like if I were talking to a client, is are you wanting to maintain it because I know that you said that you have like an all-out mentality and you kind of go in spurts.
Yep.
But would it ever be your goal to kind of find that happy medium where nutrition isn't hard? It shouldn't be tough to have as a regular, consistent eating pattern. I mean, I don't know if you guys are creatures of habit, but do you find yourself eating the same things on a regular basis?
They say everyone only eats 8 meals.
Yeah.
I started this year, instead of eating like chicken breasts like I've done in the past where you just eat like chicken breasts and broccoli and then you choke everything down, I started trying to like use kind of like the flexible dining, like actually like count my macros and make like tacos or something with 93.7 and reduced fat cheese, or like a turkey burger or a burger with reduced fat cheese and 93.7. I'll buy like chicken sausage, You know, like stuff that I can fit into my macros, and it's not bad. It's actually kind of good, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But then I still feel like I'm cheating or something like that. But I'll still count my macros and I'll still hit my macros. So we'll see how that goes. But my goal to sustain has been this year to get down to that body fat percentage under 10 by April, and then try to hold it for the year.
Ooh, yeah.
And so I'm gonna try to hold it for the year in hopes of like, and I don't know if this is real or if this is bro science, but I've heard that if you can hold your weight for several months, you can create like a new set weight. So instead of walking around at 210 all the time, maybe my body will want to walk around at 190 or something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, macros do play a big part, especially for protein. So if you're trying to put on mass or maintain it,
So I'm at like
do you guys know the 1-to-1 rule?
like 1 for every 1 pound.
So it's 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, if you're trying to increase mass, you should times that by 1.5 or 1.2.
So I'm doing like 230 grams a day right now, and I weigh like 210 right now.
Yeah. So adding that value to your protein, that helps you add on the weight. So maybe
Increase my protein, reduce
so
my
because
fat.
what did you say? Did you say 35% carbs?
Yep.
I would even challenge you to increase your carb intake.
Oh,
So if you're trying to put and maintain good muscle tissue, which is what you're kind of trying to do, that helps with lowering body fat and helps you maintain it.
I don't want to do that, Anna.
I know. This is what I'm telling you. Like,
But it still ends up being a lot. It still ends up being like, you know, a lot, like almost 200 grams of carbs a day. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But if I were,
But if you're working out, are you working out 4 times, 5 times a week?
I've been working out 5 times a week.
So you need.
You haven't
that's
noticed
the
me
thing,
in there
you
crushing?
need it. I don't know what time you come in. You just say earlier you were like, I go in there at 9:00 at night. I'm like, I'm not in there.
No, I was going in there. I try to go in there as early as possible at like 5, but days that I can't do that, I'm usually there at like noon,
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
And so kind of going back to the story of my clients don't like to hear what I tell them on what it actually takes. And that's another thing is that people like to look for short responses. Like they want to see results fast.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have a client who's like, I really want to tone up or put on muscle, I have to tell them to eat more in order to shoot for the protein intake that your body needs to fit the workouts that you're doing on a regular basis. So if you're strength training 5 days a week, your muscle needs protein, it needs carbohydrates in order to maintain or grow that muscle. And then, so you do need healthy essential fats on your body as well. So 25% from what you were saying earlier, go ahead and keep that. That helps with your hormones. But if you really want to drop down to that 9%, you could shoot for 20% intake when you go through like a cut phase for like 3 weeks. So try that. As you get closer to like 10% or you want to bump it down to 9, then you can go through these mini cuts throughout the year. So you're like, all right, I need to get down to 9%. I'm going to do a mini cut for 3 weeks. Then that's when you can cut down to either your fat or you can increase the fat and then cut down on your carbs.
So when you hear me say 2600,
but you need to go back up into your carbs after your 3 weeks.
See, and that's the thing. I really don't change anything. When you say when I say 2600, does that seem low to you?
It does.
See, dang it.
See,
I mean, I can pull out my calculator right now and like give you what you actually need.
Well, it's
because I feel like you would need 3,000 for sure.
I mean, because when I'm really like not working out, I can eat 3,000 at McDonald's in one meal.
Yes.
It's pretty easy. When you calculate it, it's legitimately like $3,000. And
see, my thing is I've never had a program.
Okay. You said you were following one.
I mean, like a meal program.
Oh, meal program.
I've never had a meal program. So that, to me, would be my game changer. I've never had a meal program.
Rob eats healthy, though. He eats healthy
I
naturally.
mean, yeah, that's what I was just about to say is like, but I feel like the way that your body looks, you're doing something right with your nutrition and your workouts.
Well,
but you're trying to put on mass. So maybe this is the time for you to start gauging your nutrition intake, see where you're actually at. Like maybe you are eating 2,100 calories when you should be eating 28 or 3,000. But then manipulating your macros of your proteins and carbs and fats so that you can see the muscle tissue either maintain or putting on the weight that you need. And that's going to be alongside with all of your macros. You just need to increase all of it. that's where it becomes fun.
Yeah.
Where you can almost eat, I don't want to say anything because that's not the, that's,
But that is
My
what
wife-
it
but
feels
that's
like.
really is.
My
You can
wife
eat
says that you
anything
can
right
eat
now.
anything and won't gain any weight.
If I push
And
it
so-
to 3K and
Obviously
I try
be
to
smart
count,
about it.
Yeah, but she's like, you can eat a whole cake and won't gain any weight.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's because I've been working out for a consistent basis for years. Plus, you know, after the kidney transplants, we cut down on the salt a lot.
Yep.
And then my water intake went up a lot just to, you know, nourish the kidney and
Yeah.
stay hydrated. So, I mean,
it's like
dehydration is one
high
big
calories, and then you break it down the way I did, 40, 25, 35. I do feel like you can pretty much eat anything and still stay in there. 3,000 calories is a lot, you know.
Yes. And the thing is that people sometimes do have to have a little bit of patience when it comes to this too. And that's what I tell clients is when you're on a new macro nutrient intake, give yourself 3 weeks before you even hop or touch that scale. Because again, this is probably gearing more towards like females because
I don't really weigh myself.
most females like to weigh themselves and then they justify their weight based on the number that they see.
But they gain muscle.
And
they're not considering that.
And more often than not, when I tell female clients to put on or eat more protein and they're eating a lot more calories than they have before, even if it's just 200 calories more, they will put on weight. And I have to mentally tell them that ahead of time. And you have to be okay with the fact that your number will go up. Eventually, that number will level off and you'll start to see that body fat percentage go down.
Mm-hmm.
That's where and then they start to feel good. Their clothes are fitting looser. They're seeing the body fat percentage of just that little bit makes a difference on how your body feels. You have more energy. It's not just by looks or aesthetics at this point, but you have more energy. I can lift heavier weight. And my weight's still the same though. Hasn't changed, but my clothes fit a little bit looser. It's because they've increased their protein intake. They've been a little bit more strategic on the types of foods that they're eating, or maybe they're decreasing in body fat fat in macros of grams when they were probably consuming close to 40, and then they dropped it down to 30 or 25% of their intake. You'll instantly lose body fat like that.
So increasing
and for
the
you
protein.
guys, increase your protein. I would say increase your carbs, decrease a little of the fat by 5%.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're ready to go through a cut for let's say 3 weeks, then you can manipulate that carb number and then either increase in protein a little bit more for that 3-week cut. And then you can go back up to your carbs.
So this is all we got to do to get a free nutrition
It's like a
plan is just
cycle.
invite her on
That's
the
why
podcast.
we created a podcast. So everybody we interview, we get a free consultation on
I heard
anything.
that. I don't know.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
We're about to be ripped, bro.
Look, I'm going on a cruise, and
Okay.
and so that's why I said I have to get into the weight room because I'm going to be eating all this food.
Cruise food's not normal food either, man. They do something to the food to fill you
I
up, man.
think so too.
They do something to it.
Well, I've never been on a cruise, but I've been on an all-inclusive.
It's been 8 years since I've been on
Cruises are different than even all-inclusive resorts, man. It's like everything is addicting, and you get full right away, and then you're like, I paid for this, and so you're forcing even more food down your mouth.
That's not.
This is
I'm
me.
Not looking
This is
at
how
that.
I roll.
I'm not looking at it like that.
I'm like, I can get a whole pizza for free on top of my meal. I'm like, wait a second. I'm like, I'll take 2 filet mignons, and I'll just grab the whole meal, move the one steak onto the other plate, throw away the sides. I'm like, snobby American, take this back. I'll just move the mashed potatoes over and the steak, and then you can have all the vegetables from both meals.
You got to pay for a third meal, I think, now.
I don't know. Every cruise I've ever been on, you can order as many meals as you want.
Now, say I can order a meal, you can order a meal, you can order a meal, then we can order a second one. But I think the third one, if we want to order a third one, if I wanted 3 of the things, or I think it's 3.
See, I ain't never tried to order 3. That's a little bit too far-fetched. I ain't that snobby, man.
Well, when we go on a cruise, I'll order one, my wife will order one, and then we'll have another one,
Okay.
whatever's there, So I'll have to see if that's true because I've seen something about they're charging for a third meal, so I don't know what is actually considered the third meal. So
Yeah.
I'm usually like, I'll take the steak and I'll take the chicken.
but whatever I'm eating, I'm hitting that weight room, or I'm
Yeah.
doing push-ups in the cabin. I'm doing squats. I'm
doing something.
Oh yeah, I'm using.
Have you guys ever heard of
advantage.
like refeed days?
Refeed?
Yeah, where you just eat carbs, but it's so hard to find carbs with no fat.
Yes.
For me, like every single carb, like I'm like, oh sweet, I got a refeed day, and I'm like, this is what I'm gonna eat, and then I look at the package, I'm like, too high in fat.
Yeah.
The only thing there is cereal. It's like the only thing.
Where it's like, what about like oatmeal?
Well, which is like a form of, it's like a form of cereal.
And
I'd
like
say.
rice. Do you guys eat rice?
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Like those are really high in carbohydrates. And when you have a refeed day, like for you, Rob, if you're trying to increase, right, in weight, I would say add in like 2 refeed days out of the week where you're really high in calories. Like shoot for 3,500. And if you can shoot for that for 1 or 2 times a week, I guarantee your workout the next day is going to feel solid. So hitting the weights, you're going to feel so good. You're going to be lifting heavy and feeling like you can lift 10, 20 pounds more.
Speaking of workouts, I think we all have one thing in common, and that was the Sweat to Swag video.
Yes.
Oh,
Aren't
yeah.
you in there?
Oh, yeah, I was in there. Somehow.
You and Shauna was in there?
That was fun.
It was fun until I had to put on the swag.
Yeah.
So I got my workout in. Late at night, I remember you saying, "Oh, we need."
I remember this now. You finish your story.
Rob, she's like, "Rob, we're waiting on yours." It's like, okay, it's like 11 or something. It's like, okay, I get my workout in, get my clothes set up, go take a shower because I didn't want to put on clean clothes dirty. So I take my shower, throw my clothes on to take the last part of the video and send it off to you. So I remember setting on my clothes, taking my shower, going back downstairs to put on my suit jacket and everything. At the top of the stairs, there was a plastic bag. My right foot hit that bag. My feet came from under me. My right elbow hit the threshold of the top step, and I slid about 4 steps. And you want to talk about pain. And all I kept thinking about was, I got to get this video done. Put my hand on my elbow's bleeding. So I grabbed a paper towel. I put the paper towel underneath my elbow, slide my suit jacket on and my T-shirt, and I do the rest of the video. If you look at the video, you can't tell I'm in pain, and I have a napkin underneath my elbow. But I was like, oh my gosh.
See, I didn't do like an actual workout before that. I just pretended like I was working out. Like you actually did a full workout first.
No, it was like right because you did an exercise and then you quick like changed into.
But I was already
your nice swaggy attire.
Yeah.
I was already had my workout set up, so I just had to get a clip of it. So I was like, okay, let me go take a shower and throw on these clothes. And that bag, man, that ruined everything. My elbow sticks out like this much longer than the other one right now.
You sent me a picture, I think, the next day. I was like, what?
I was like, look at this.
They do anything for the gram.
Yep. Apparently,
Well,
during a pandemic.
She was like, you're the last one. I was like, oh, I guess it falls on me. And then I fall down the stairs.
Well, thanks for getting it done.
Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Even though we were far away.
I think it was like 30-some people in there.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
That
was a great video.
During the pandemic, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We were all kind of bored, stuck in our house.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually still working because real estate was never changed. In fact, it got busier.
Mm-hmm.
Like real estate was just like, that was a crazy real estate market.
Yeah.
So for me, I was still out and about like every day. It was like
Crazy
a ghost town.
Good or bad?
No, it was a very like busy, successful year. It was one of the better years for most agents that I know was that year. I don't know why.
That's good.
But it was good. I think it's probably because, they say it's because people were getting like realizing the deficiencies of their house. Like, wait a second.
I remember
staring
hearing
at
that.
their corners.
Yep.
And their walls.
Staring at the corner to like this room ain't big enough. Like I'm sick of this family member. I need a little bit more space. Whatever.
The lack of painting, refreshing, and all that. It's like, I'm not doing none of this.
I felt like every loan officer became a gardener. I have loan officer friends. Every time I pull past their house, they're always doing wood chips and mulch, wood chips over their shoulder. I'm like, dang, man, these guys got it made. 'Cause, they work at banks, which are closed.
Yeah.
We built our fire pit during the pandemic.
Oh, you did?
Yep, in the backyard. That was our family project.
Yeah. My husband made a makeshift office in the garage, and he was still working full time. So he would hold his meetings in this garage. And of course, the kids and I are at home. And you could hear, there's like no soundproof. You just hear everything. The kids fighting. I'm either yelling at my kids to like, guys, gotta keep it down. Nick, or your dad is on a call right now with a client. So it was a wild time.
I remember at that time I noticed that you were working out, posting videos from your garage.
Yes.
There's been times I'm like, man, she just don't matter, man.
I only had dumbbells too.
I was like, she's just going after it no matter what. And then you had the exercise bike that looks like a big fan.
Whew.
And then she was working that one. I'm like, I need one of those. And then right when I'm like, maybe we should pull the trigger on this, then you're like, I'm selling my exercise bike. I'm like,
I got
dang
a
it.
different bike. I was like, because I wanted to get a bike that I could be on there for quite some time, but an assault bike. Have you guys been on an assault bike?
I don't think so.
I haven't.
It's a resistance bike that you're moving with your hands and your feet, but you can't be on that any longer than 4 minutes without gassing out. So it's mainly used for interval training or hit training, but not something that you want to coast on. So I ended up selling it so I could get a Concept 2 bike where it's kind of shaped as a spin bike. That I sold that to get that instead, and now it's sitting in my living room every time I either want to watch a show or my husband has the football game on, and I'll just sit there, or vice versa, he'll be on it too as well. So it's kind of nice to, instead of sitting on the couch, we'll hop on the bike for a little bit for like 20 minutes.
That's a good thing to do. I think more people should do that. Have some workout equipment if they're in front of the TV a lot.
Yeah.
I remember buying a stationary bike after my first transplant, and that changed a lot.
Yeah.
That changed
And it's
a whole lot.
It's not super taxing where you have to run.
Yeah.
But you can still elevate your heart rate on
good movement.
on a bike, on a stationary bike.
Yeah, it's real
and it's good
movement.
for your knees. And
So, I joke a lot. I didn't want to drink my energy drink in front of you because I didn't want you to judge me for the poor quality of energy drink. And I do think that you have very smart knowledge when it comes to like the different brands of supplements and different things. So what if I throw out a couple different supplements or names, and then you tell me whether or not a person should actually take them?
Okay.
All right. So, you go to Costco and you get either the Fairlife or the Premier Protein, like pre-made drinks. They're quick, they're easy. You can grab one, chug it real quick.
Wait, so is Fairlife? I thought Fairlife was just milk. There's protein in there?
They make protein ones too. But they're supposed to be made from like a condensed milk. So they'll have like 29 grams or 20 something grams per thing. They taste good enough for like a kid to want to drink them.
Or the Premier ones?
The Premier ones are a little bit worse. There's definitely, what's the sugar that everyone's supposed to stay away from that we all drink every day? That's in Splenda. What's that?
Oh.
Aspartame?
It's not aspartame. It's the other one. What's it? Sucralose.
Sucralose.
A lot of sucralose in a lot of these drinks. What do you think of those types of drinks, or is there a better way to get protein?
Yeah. So Fairlife and what was the other one?
Premier Protein.
Premier Protein.
Yeah, I see a lot of people drinking those everywhere.
So I'm going to share a story on a client of mine.
Okay.
He was drinking Premier Proteins, and I wanted for him to find a better solution for getting his protein in without getting the added sugars that are in those products. And I told him a story of when I was in college studying for kinesiology. Me and a group of students, we decided to test or research on the importance of protein right after a workout. So we tested regular milk versus chocolate milk. And funny enough, chocolate milk was the favored one in terms of how your body responded because it had more protein in it, and it actually had the good sugars in it that your body needed to replace after a workout versus just regular milk that had a little bit of protein in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenged my client to find a better solution, a substitute, and make his own protein by getting chocolate milk and then doing a scoop of protein powder in his chocolate milk so he gets better sugars, and find organic chocolate milk instead of the Premier. And you'll be able to substitute that with higher protein intake, less crap than the Premier Protein.
Mm-hmm.
So not saying that Premier Protein is a bad choice, but there is a better choice in order to get the protein that you need along with the nutrients that you need after a workout.
I just think a lot of people buy it because it's easy. It just comes in a thing and you just grab it and walk out the door.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
What about pre-workout? What's your thought on pre-workout? Because I know for me, like that was when I decided like, why do I spend so much money on supplements? The first thing I cut was a pre-workout because I was like, I feel like this is just a mindset thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like this isn't actually giving me any added benefit to my workout outside of, focus because of the caffeine, stuff like that. So what do you think about pre-workouts?
So pre-workouts, I'm all for it.
Okay.
I do them myself. However, if you are using pre-workout like caffeine as a crutch, then you might need to find a better solution in terms of hydrating your body a little bit better. So you can still do your pre-workout, but instead of doing, let's say 200 milligrams, which is super high for someone to consume before a workout, maybe do 100 milligrams. And then during your workout, make sure that you are hydrating yourself properly with electrolytes. So whether that is putting amino recoveries like branched chain amino acids in your water during your workout and EAAs, essential amino acids. Those can be very well activated to help you recover faster to get you ready for your next workout. Or you can find a great electrolyte balanced supplement. I use one. It's called Relyte, and then Hydrate from Lifetime. I use that as well. So I find those as beneficial, but pre-workout is not necessarily bad.
Mm-hmm.
Again, if you're finding yourself having like 300, 400 milligrams throughout the day on top of your coffee, that's a little bit much. And then you're relying on a supplement to get you through your workout.
So what's the best pre-workout? Did you just name it?
No, I did not. The best pre-workout, I use a scoop of powder, or my favorite one right now for myself is Ghost. And I only drink like half of it.
Yeah. So you actually buy the cans, or you?
Yeah, I'm human. I'll purchase something that actually tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and has the caffeine that I need for me to push it.
I drink like a Ghost, and then I just like sit down on the couch. Like, I don't even. I don't like do it for.
I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't even use it as a pre-workout. Just like I just drink a C4 for no reason. The electrolyte supplement that I have been using that I like, it's called Element. Have you heard of this?
Yep.
I've heard of that.
And it tastes like salt water.
So it's like too salty, or?
Well, it tastes like flavored salt water. So like, a lot of them taste like Gatorade or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this one actually tastes salty. Like it's salty, and you're not just like, this is good, but you're like, this feels more natural to me for some reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else added in it besides salt and flavor.
I'm sure there is. Element is a really great product that I've read about, and it most likely probably has the other solutions that I talked about. So magnesium, the choline, sodium.
So you mentioned the amino acids. What about like the old school creatine? Creatine. What do you think of creatine?
Go for it.
Yeah.
If you Google creatine on anything, it is the most researched.
Do you think monohydrate
supplement.
or one of these newer ones?
Again, I'm using Lifetime supplements, and I truly love theirs because they are third-party tested.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that they're safe. And with creatine in general, I believe any creatine that you take is going to be beneficial. You can take it any time throughout the day. It doesn't have to be before, doesn't have to be after a workout. Just take it when you can. 5 milligrams is recommended for males and females. Now, if you're trying to increase your size, you could shoot for 10 milligrams, but make sure that you're drinking plenty of water alongside with it. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, it also says that you should eat a carbohydrate with it too. So eat with a carbohydrate with it. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water, because that creatine, it's like a sponge. Your muscles are like a sponge. It like just sucks it in.
If you don't drink a lot of water, it just
see, the one I have is just like
the
one I have is just like white powder, and I just literally scoop it into my mouth and then take a swig of water. Like
so, drink more water. Just drink more water. Yeah.
I heard of
it works.
A peanut butter protein, or I think Costco had it. Somebody was telling me about it. Have you ever heard of that? A peanut butter?
I've heard of it's like PB2. It flavors but it's just it's like a powdered peanut butter.
Oh, okay.
Which I've told clients to, if you want to put a little bit of flavor without the high fat, put a scoop of PB2 in there with your protein powder, shake it up with water or almond milk, and then drink that. Tastes so good.
See, I've never had a
And then you don't have the fat that's in there when you're trying to decrease in body fat.
See, I don't fall for any of the like I used to be like go into like a GNC or a vitamin shop and be like, so what should I get? And then they would show me all this weird stuff, and I would have to decide like which one I should buy. So like now I don't know if I'm just cheap or if I'm just too old to deal with any of that, but now I'm just like protein, creatine. That's basically it for me.
Yep.
Protein, creatine. So do you have anything else that you recommend?
Like product wise,
that's
or
outside of supplement wise or
wise.
product wise or whatever, because
So foundational supplements that I usually recommend for clients is protein powder. You have your multivitamin for male or female.
Mm-hmm.
You have vitamin D. You have your magnesium, fish oil. And then if you're really looking to have more immune support, vitamin or B complex and zinc, especially during the time like when people are getting sick. Zinc is essential, especially if you want to try and avoid, so it builds up your immune system. So those are the foundational supplements that I usually recommend for clients.
I do have the ZMA with theanine. I don't know what any of that. I know it's zinc, magnesium, and I don't know what the A is. And I know that there's theanine, which I don't know what that is either. But I do take that sometimes at night, and it does actually make me more tired.
Oh, like right before bed?
Like right before bed.
Okay.
And I've heard that that's good for you.
And getting like quality sleep.
I know magnesium's good for testosterone and stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah. And then just getting the essential vitamins and minerals that in reality, supplements shouldn't replace food either. And when people rely on supplements versus food, you also have to think about vegetables and fruits can give you the necessary needs of vitamins and minerals as effective as supplements. Now, if you're having supplements, but you're not having fruits and vegetables alongside with it, you're doing your body a disservice when it could potentially be better. So make sure if you are having supplements, you have to eat your fruits and vegetables alongside with it too. So it's not like supplements are the answer. You need to make sure that you're working with the foods that you're intaking too as well so that they do work better.
So what that brings me to what about like all these supplements that are popping up there, like greens, like green drinks?
Yeah, go for it.
Which one?
The AG1, which my sister has been consuming. She's been a really big fan of it. And then now I'm like, I got to try this.
And that's a brand or that's?
It's a brand.
Okay.
AG1. Again, I haven't consumed it, but I've just been hearing a lot of hype. Even my husband has been like, maybe we should try this. What do you think? I looked at the ingredients and I was like, yes, absolutely. We should go for it. Like, let's try this out.
A lot of natural things in there.
A lot of natural.
It's like greens.
Yes.
That you can just like basically mix it, a little frother and water.
Yeah. Just mix it up like it's a protein powder. Or not a protein powder, excuse me, but a powder that you put in, shake it up, and then you drink it. You're getting the needs of vitamins and minerals that you would out of fruits and vegetables. So, and again, Lifetime does have that product too. I haven't purchased it in a while, but there is a double chocolate one flavor that I enjoy that I like, that I used to put into my coffee to make it a little bit more nutrient dense, alongside with the eggs and
or have
hash
you seen
browns
the
I have in the
collagen
morning.
supplements that people put into their coffee?
Love it.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Well, there you go. See, I'm just reminding her of all the other supplements that she also uses.
I mean, I do use this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So at Lifetime, do they give you like a link or anything that you can give out to your clients and when they buy off of it?
Yep.
Okay.
So clients that work with me or even non-clients can purchase supplements and use my trainer discount code, which is 111123.
That's going to be
super easy to remember.
Yeah, you created that?
No.
They gave that to you?
They gave that to me.
You're lucky.
I was like, wow, I'm really lucky here. I felt lucky. So you get a discount and then I'll get a small commission too off of it.
Yeah, so what is the what's the website then?
Shop.lifetime.life.
Okay.
And
Shop.
all those supplements that I named off today are all on there. You can purchase using my trainer code, and feel free to ask me questions too. I have my Instagram that you can reach out to me anytime.
Sweet.
On what type of order you can have those supplements as well.
So because you work at Lifetime, so you probably have rules against this, but do you do any online training or anything like that?
I do. You do have to be a member at Lifetime in order to do online training.
Okay, I get you. Also, you do it through Lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
What's your Instagram?
Anna Taylor 333.
Wow, so everything's easy.
I try. You gotta be basic sometimes.
Oh, for
sometimes.
Stuff like that, definitely.
Yeah.
I do like to be extra most times.
Yeah, no, like your workouts.
Yeah, I know.
As soon as they go to your Instagram,
once
they'll be like basic. I don't think so.
I mean, Corey, if you've seen me on the floor, I'm usually like in the zone. And I mean, I think most people should be in the zone when they're working out.
Yeah.
If you're working out and you're lifting weights and you're talking, I don't think you're necessarily intentfully working on your workout very well.
There's been a lot of times where I'm sitting here just like laying around doing nothing, and I go on Instagram and I see Anna doing a workout, and I'm like talking to my wife. I'm like, she's at it again. She posted another workout. I don't know how she has it in her.
We were supposed to did a pull-up challenge, weren't we?
Or we did push
muscle ups.
Oh yes.
We've done challenges, but that was a muscle up that we were going to do. Me and my brother were going to try to do the muscle up that one year, and I think we had a death in my wife's family, and I think the whole program got thrown off track. But
yeah,
we were trying to do a muscle up one year, me and my brother.
Oh, I'll train you for it.
We're gonna get back to it though.
Yes, you definitely have the strength to be able to pull it off.
It's all about the technique, and
it is.
So I gotta figure that part out.
Yep. Well, I know you can do dips, body weight dips.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're solid on that.
Yeah. This sounds weird, but have you ever had anyone hire you just to be like, I need you to develop this one muscle part? Like, I'm going to work out with you just once a month, and I need you to do this one muscle group. No?
I mean, it's not that I structure my workouts for that individual to work one muscle group, because you do need to hit your every single muscle group.
Well, let's just say that this individual is virtually perfect everywhere else.
Except for
maybe
for their one bicep.
Let's just say there's a guy.
One bicep.
Let's just say there's a guy that's just completely, he's pretty happy with his physique, but he skipped leg day for 20 years. Oh. Like what do you do at that point?
Then I would make it more of a leg focus, but not neglect the upper body.
Okay, get you.
So then I would be like, okay, you're going to do 3 leg days.
I'm not saying it's me. I'm saying like I know a guy that did that.
You know a guy? Is that you?
Yeah, I know a guy who knows a guy that did that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How long are your programs usually?
45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and 15 for the day. So if I have a client who's like, I want to work out 3 days a week, great. I'll plan those out. I do have one client that's like, I need to make sure I'm out of here right at an hour because their time is limited. Mm-hmm. So it depends on the client. I don't make a one size fits all type of program, but more or less, if you can commit the time, like what can you commit to? Is it 3 times a week, 4 or 5? They'll let me know, and then I'll be like, great, I'll design that program for you. Make sure it's an hour. Now, if you can commit to an hour and 15 minutes, I'll make it a little longer, but I try not to go over an hour and 15. And I always add a warm up in there for you. And
it depends on what they're looking for the length of the program as well. Like 8 weeks, 6 weeks.
Usually I go in 12-week cycles.
Okay, 12 weeks.
But I work in phases of those cycles. So I'll have like a phase 1 for 4 weeks, a phase 2 for 4 weeks, and a phase 3 for 4 weeks.
So then what happens at the end of the 12 weeks?
Out of the 12 weeks, we repeat, but I add in or make adjustments to their reps and sets. Maybe they're improving in their movement patterns, where instead of doing kettlebell goblet squats for those 12 weeks, we're going to move to back squats instead, because your movement pattern is doing well. And you've been doing your mobility on top of your recovery. So your squat depth looks good. You're able to lift a little bit heavier on your kettlebells. Let's move to a barbell squat.
Random question. Do you have Lifetime members in other states that you virtually train?
I did during the pandemic. And then it just kind of slowly came back to more in-person training.
Sweet.
I think we've got a wealth of knowledge today.
Yeah, we did.
Any bomb drops?
What does that mean?
Like mind blown.
Oh, everything. Like, I don't eat enough.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And I'm probably still going to be stubborn and only eat 2,600 calories a day as well,
Okay.
But here's the thing. I feel like I've done so many different things that I feel like I know how I've had success in the past. What I don't know is if it's the best way to have success. Like maybe it would work faster if I just listen to somebody who knows what they're talking about, or I don't know. I know that I'll get there this way, but I don't know if it's the fastest route.
I challenge you, Corey, though, to kind of have this more steady, like sustainable type of training where it's more consistent for you rather than like the ebbs and flows of like, 6 months is hard and then I drop off.
Yeah.
So it's just that all out mentality. That's where I challenge you is like, how can you build it more as I'm going to work out for a year.
It's just like for the first 6 months, like I'll drive up the street and I'll take a right into Lifetime, and then the next 6 months I take a left into Wild Bill's and eat a cheeseburger. So it's like I'm still taking the same route.
6 months is a long time. I just want to
when
say.
You're ready to commit, I got you, Corey.
Well, thanks for stopping by, Anna.
Yeah.
So
anytime.
You said people can follow you on
Instagram.
Instagram at Anna Taylor 333.
333.
Okay, and that code for the Lifetime
discount is 111123.
And we'll put all those links in the description below.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a very interesting episode.
It has. I learned a lot more than I thought.
Yep.
I thought, I wasn't sure how in depth you're going to get, but you got very in depth.
Oh,
so
thanks.
It's sweet potato time for me.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
It's my refeed day now.
Yeah.
Ooh. I love it. You guys are getting the education. This is what I always want to provide for clients. So
Well,
again, that's the value of getting a trainer.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Anytime.
Well, thanks for watching another episode of Rob and Corey. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button. And thank you, Anna, for coming on. Until next time, peace.